Welcome to this new episode of my podcast. I'm your host Shyamkanu Mahanta. In this podcast, we shall talk about newsmakers, important issues, events relating to Northeast India. This issue needs focus, needs attention at various levels. In this episode, we shall try to talk about an iconic personality. He is considered the greatest Assamese of ever, a man responsible for creating the culture and the egalitarian society of Assam. I am talking about Mahapurush Srimanta Sankardev, the great saint, reformer, and the social engineer who have changed the culture and societal landscape of Northeast India. Born in 1449 in Nagaon in Assam, Mahapurush Srimanta Sankardev was a person of unmatched talent. Mahapurush Srimanta Sankardev was the great saint. He started this bhakti movement in Assam. Born in 1449, Sankardeva was a person with unmatched talent. A religious saint, as I said, he was a person who started this bhakti movement in Northeast India. Versatile personality, he was all rolled into one. An entrepreneur, a poet, dramatist, dancer, sculptor, artist, all rolled into one. And most importantly, he was a social engineer who have created the foundation of the egalitarian society of Assam. His Vaishnavite movement has covered the length and breadth of the undivided Assam. He used culture to attract people to spirituality and has given this Assamese society everything from way of life, literature, culture, Panchayat Raj kind of system, and all that is needed to survive as a society. Today, we shall talk about this once-in-a-century kind of person and his huge contribution towards the society. I was born in Satra institution. Satras are created by Sankaradeva to carry forward his legacy. There are more than 900 Satras in Assam. I was born in one such Satra, it's called in Sivsagar. Khatpar Khotra is the name of my Satra. And my father, Leela Mahanta, is a Satradhikar. So I have got a background of Satra culture. My childhood memories are dominated by Nam Prakhanga, reciting Gunamala, the creation of Sankardeva and Madhavdeva every evening, and sound of Daba performing the evening, and I used to play the role of Krishna in Ras Leela, our Rach that is organized during November-December time. And I used to play Khol, and I used to dance, and I used to play Krishna in the Ras Leela. My brother, that well-known DGP of Assam, Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta, Nanigopal Mahanta, who is also an advisor to government of Assam. They are also, another one, Somarjyoti, Amarjyoti, we have 5 brothers, and all of them fully involved in Satra culture, and we are born and brought up at that atmosphere. But I lost touch with the Satra culture. I did my engineering and management. I worked in Netfi, I worked in ILFS, and I worked all over the country. And I lost touch with the Satriya culture. After resigning my corporate job, and I started becoming an entrepreneur. I started doing my own company, own project. And at that time, I started exploring my old roots. To start with, we wanted to explore our roots through a movement called Sankardeva movement. Many of us crib about it, that Sankardeva is not known outside Assam. His contribution is so big. Why not we do something to make people know about Sankardeva outside Assam? So through my trust and MMS, we started a Sankardeva movement to make people know about Sankardeva. So Sankardeva movement is an attempt to make people know about Sankardeva's contribution. And at that process, I also started knowing a lot about Mahapurush Sankardeva. And some of things we'll try to, some of those learnings I'll try to talk about in this podcast. The Sankardeva movement we started first in Delhi. It was in Kamani Auditorium. Followed by Bengaluru in the famous Chaudhary Memorial Hall, and finally we did it in NCPA Hall in Mumbai. Sankardeva movement has helped in getting a lot of understanding about Mahapurush Sankardeva, and it has become a news in many national newspapers. And I met a lot of people. Our well-known actor Victor Banerjee was the brand ambassador of Sankardeva movement. And he has really raised the pitch and had changed the entire narrative about Sankardeva. He is a brilliant orator, and he is acceptable to people across the country, and when he talked as a brand ambassador, it made the impact. Sankardeva movement has brought many scholars like late Dr. Sunil Kothari, Dr. Kapila Bachayana, and many other experts of India came and they talk about Sankaradeva. we also rediscovered Sankaradeva. He was not a mere spiritual guru. He was much beyond. He was a cultural genius. And that was the biggest mistake of we as Assamese society. We has kept him as a religious guru, a saint, but he was much, much more, which I'm going to talk about next part of this podcast. The 15th century Assam, when Sankaradeva was born, was going through very difficult times. Animal sacrifice, human sacrifice was very common. Spirituality was almost non-existent. Religion was only for people with money, upper caste. Upper caste can only have religion, not lower caste. Ruling caste. Religion was dominated by, or religious activities are only for ruling caste, upper caste, and people with money. Sankaradeva realized that to attract people to spirituality, he has to adopt some out-of-box ideas. He created Namghara. Namghar is a place where people can preach. In a Namghara, he has broken the barrier, the caste barrier. People from all caste communities came together in one platform. Gobindo, Garur Gobindo, Sanhai from Musalman community, Romai from Koshari communities, Paramananda from Missing community, Damodar and Jayananda from Bhutanese community, Narottam from Naga, Purnananda from Koiborto, all tribes, all communities, upper caste, lower caste, rich, poor, all are allowed to come or encouraged to come to Namghar to preach Ekshara Nam Dharma. Preach Krishna, one God, and that is the revolution Sankaradeva has started. So the biggest issue, the caste barrier were broken. People started getting together on a common platform, and it has become like a panchayat raj system. And Namghar became a place where people come with their grievances, the issues are sorted out, land issues are sorted out. So people started talking about religion as well as day-to-day issues of families. It was the first example of Panchayat Raj system. Sankaradeva was the first person who talked about the idea of Bharat Barsha, which connected this isolated land of Assam with the rest of India. This was 15th century, 16th century, dawn of the Bhakti movement in India. Sankaradeva traveled across India, met some of the main proponents of Bhakti movement, and came back to Assam to talk about Bharat Barsha. Dhanya Dhanya Bharata Boriho. He preached Ekshara Nam Dharma, a monotheistic doctrine based on Bhagavad Purana. At the same time, when young 24-year-old Guru Nanak was also exploring his own vision of Ek Nama Sarana Dharma, which he later went to preach throughout the world as Ek Onkar Satnam. Girish Karnad is considered, father of the drama culture in India, and he talked about Sankaradeva as the first modern Indian playwright. That was Sankaradeva. How many in Assam knows about it? So there lies the irony, there lies the need for knowing more about Sankaradeva in different forms, especially in our textbook. It is so important for our children across the country must to know about this great saint. Sankardeva's use of Sutradhara was unique in its Brechtian stylization and the performances. Accompanied by song and chorus speaking the mind of an audience was a musical and dramatic form that had never been explored before. Ahe Khova Khoda Luko. Sutradhara will come and explain the story to the public. Sutradhara, Khova Khoda means public. He will talk about the story of the drama and then actors will come and explain. It may be Ram Vijaya, Lord Rama Vijaya over Ravana, or Rukmini Haran, how Krishna has taken Rukmini. So these are the stories, and the Sutradhara will explain the story first, and then to dance and drama, the different activities goes ahead in Ankya Bhavana. This style is amazingly similar to what was evolving across the seven seas in Europe, and more than 100 years before, in the advent of Globe Theatre with William Shakespeare. That was the greatness of Sankaradeva, something what William Shakespeare taught in 18th century, Sankaradeva did in 16th century. The Borgit. Borgit are the Git, which is created by Sankaradeva. Shows his versatility and brilliant literary skill. He used Raga Dhansiri, which is similar to Dhanyasi in Karnataka music. Sankaradeva created 120 Borgit. Each one of them was poetry of very high standard, majority of which was unfortunately lost in fire. His disciple Mahapurush Madhavdev carried forward the legacy and created some outstanding Borgits. As I explained before, he created the musical instruments, khul, tal, which became a symbol of Assamese culture in later years. Prolific singer Papon, as we all know, Angora Papon Mahanta, has done a thorough research on Sankardeva music form. According to Papon, Gurujana devised 14 beats. Worldwide, pop music is 4x4 beats. Indian folk music is 6x8 beats. Papon terms Sankardeva as a genius of outstanding capability. His 14 beats for Sankardeva were created, generally used in jazz or classical music, or any musician who can use it well. Whereas Sankardeva creations such as Parital had entire community perform effortless in 14 beats. So this Parital has 14 beats, which is a very difficult beat, and is used mostly in jazz and other music, but Sankardeva has taught the entire population of Assam to use Parital, especially ladies. So this tal, this use of tal at 16th century, 15th century Sankardev was something, according to Papon, is absolutely unbelievable. How he has created this so much of a complex beat, and how he made people use these beats effortlessly is something absolutely unbelievable. In India, we have 8 classical dance forms which are recognized by Sangeet Academy like Bharatnatyam, Mohiniyattam, Kuchipudi, Manipuri and many others. 8 dance forms. Youngest classical dance form is Satriya dance. If you see Kuchipudi or Bharatnatyam, these are all evolved over the years. For hundreds of years, these are evolved. Generation after generations has practiced it and made it a form of dance which is now accepted, standard as practice. In case of Satriya, the 8th classical dance form is a creation of one individual, Mahapurush Sankardev. So a dance form, a classical dance form is creation of one person. That is the greatness of Mahapurush Sankardev. He introduced Matiya Khara, a form of yoga which is practiced before Satriya dance performance. Matiya Khara is still very popular in various satras, as I mentioned. Various satras across Assam is carrying forward the various legacy of Mahapurush Sankardev. Most famous satras are in Majuli, they are Kamalabari, Aunioti, Dakhinpad, and various satras. And a lot of tourists goes to Majuli and Barpeta to see the satras. The satras has become the embodiment and who carries forward the legacy of Sankardeva. Sankardeva was much ahead of time. These days we are talking about yoga and the importance of yoga. In 16th century, his Matiya Khara has all the forms of body movement, especially beneficial for orthopedics and heart diseases. He is an artist of highest order. During his tenure in Coast Kingdom, he set about creating a tapestry depicting all the stories of Vrindavan mischievous boy, Krishna. He designed all the artwork himself and employed weavers in Tantikusi, a small village in Barpeta, to weave a 40-yard long panel that would one day called as Vrindavani Bastra. It was delivered by him to the Coast King Narayan, the ruler, but mysteriously the silk tapestry disappeared and the valuable work of art was lost for 400 years, till a young British officer found it in Tibet and gave it to British Museum in London. Right now, this Vrindavani Bastra, created by Sankardeva, is now in British Museum in London. Famous intellectual Dr. Suniti Kumar Chattopadhyay once said, Sankardeva is the greatest builder of Assam. By bringing purer spiritual life, and although circumstances and prevented his influence from being spread to other parts of India, as a religious leader, according to Suniti Kumar Chattopadhyay, Sankardeva is unquestionable as one of the greatest India has produced, and he deserves to be mentioned with Shankaracharya, Kabir, Nanak, Tulsidas, Satyanadeva, etc. This is Sankardeva. His position must be at the same place with Kabir, Nanak and others, who is actually, as much as people knows about Kabir or Nanak, people are not aware about Sankardev all across the country. Our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said, Great Vaishnava revival under Sankardeva in 16th century has made Assamese people kindly, tolerant and human. There is no sign anywhere of that form of untouchability which is found in northern and southern India. So this is, we talk about egalitarian society as Sankardeva has created. The father of the nation has accepted Sankardeva has created a society, tolerant, a human society, which is known all across the country. As a social engineer, the role of Sankardeva is much beyond a spiritual leader. This society has remained and will remain forever. He was a social engineer in truest form of time. In this era, his teachings are much more important. Our differences among the tribes and communities, he has taught us long before to stay together. He has given Assam its identity, its culture, the way of life, tolerant, a culture which is so important, as I want to repeat again, for this 21st century. That's why his relevance is much, much more important today. It's very unfortunate we kept him as a spiritual guru, focusing on the religious aspect. We kept it inside the Namghar, but the versatility must be known all across the country, across the world. With this podcast, I will request Government of Assam and Government of India to include chapter on Sankaradeva on the various courses. In fact, we have been trying to talk about it in school curriculum, college curriculum, across the country. Sankaradeva has brought an Assamese society, which is so important for the country's overall fabric. And his role must be known to people in Northern India, Western India, Southern India, Eastern India, everywhere. So with this podcast, today is his birth anniversary, Sankar Janmotsav. I take this opportunity to talk about our Guru and specially request our policymakers to consider to highlight Sankaradeva across the various school, college platform, educational platform, university platform so that people know about him. And as an Assamese, as a person from this area, it is our job to spread the message of love, the message of equality, and the message of culture across the country and abroad. On this Janmotsav, we offer a sincere prayer to our Guru, the greatest Assamese of all time, the social engineer, Mahapurush Sankardev. Joy Guru Honkar. Thank you.